Hello, ladies and gentlemen. SeKo Starcraft bring you some. This is kind of exciting, actually. This is a replay between Strelok and Mana for the Mech RSL Season 5. This is really cool setup. This is the first game I've done where it's kind of got the super pro GSL setup. Really easy, clear, legible information, maximum viewing area. Cool. Still gonna bring up the production tab though, so people can see what's going on. But you will not be able to see the names tab at the top, which would take up too much space. Instead, we've got Strelok, Team FXO versus Mana. Now playing on Whirlwind. Now this is group stages. I believe these are all best of 3 series, and I'll be casting all the ones here between Mana and Strelok. Kind of a Mana fan. I haven't done much of Strelok in a while, but I am interested to see it regardless. I'm still giddy about the setup. This looks so sexy. Now this is the first game that I've seen from this Mech RSL. It might be a brand new tournament setup they have going on. Looks like a lot of European players involved in this. I'm not seeing too many Koreans, though, you know, what do I know about any of this stuff? Regardless, it seems Koreans are in most tournaments anyways. We're going to see how pro we can get about this pro replay with a pro setup. Barracks first. Scout going out nice and early. Let's see if it goes the right direction. Looks like safe openings from both players. There's no cross spawns on this. Generally, if it's a tournament with cross spawns, the observers will tell them that that is the case. Though we have a scout that is going to be going down to the bottom right first. So likely, Mana is going to see Strelok very end. I don't think that's going to hurt him too much. The gas came after barracks. He doesn't have a command center down, so there's nothing too crazy that needs him to scout really early on. But if he has some interest in doing a pressure build himself, knowing where your opponent is and what he is up to is pretty important if you are deciding your build based on what you see. Looks like we're going to have a 1-gate expand, I would have to assume. I wouldn't think they'd be going for a double scout. I don't think I've ever seen a pro do that, unless it's going for mega cheese. We have a scout coming out this side from Strelok. Let's see if he's going to get it right. It appears he is going to be going in the right direction here. Yep. So he'll see that expansion really early on. Barracks getting into a reactor. We should be seeing a factory pop out really soon. Might be for some form of Widow Mine drop really fast, which would be really successful against this style of opening. Cybernetics core quite delayed. Nothing out of gas. Now he's finally taking his gas. And the expansion right after gateway. So Widow Mines would be great because there'll be a long time before this detection up. But from the looks of it right now, it's probably just going to be a command center going down and pumping out more and more Marines. I've been trying to toy around with this build a little bit myself, going for the factory and the command center at about the same time. The minerals line up almost perfectly to do that. That way he's going to be able to get himself out a pretty good amount of Marines here to defend the front. So only 1 Marine to defend against this probe. Let's see if the probe's actually going to get in or not. No, it doesn't even try. It gets out of there without taking any hull damage, but he won't see what his opponent is up to. The SCV does get out for Strelok. So what did he see on his... Sorry. What did we see? Man, this is messed up. Oh, because all these people are observers. We get to see what they're looking at. Isn't that cool? So cool. Go. So it doesn't see anything too crazy. Only saw 1 gas in the expansion. This is so cool. Plenty of Marines coming out. He might go and try to put on some pressure behind this with a Hellion Marine push. There's not much out here for the protoss player to defend against such a strategy. Does have a stalker on the way. This mothership core is going to be very careful not to get caught out. These Marines will take it down really fast if it gets caught in the wrong spot. He won't see this pressure moving out though. He does see the expansion. He might think that he's safe behind that. This could be really unfortunate here for Mana. All he saw was the expansion. He didn't see the units coming out. So he probably feels safe to just tack up. As we see a Robo Bay going down and just a second stalker coming out at this point. Second gateway quite delayed. It looks like he's going to have to... He might not lose this nexus, but he will have to pull back to the high ground. There's not a lot of damage here from these Marines to take the nexus out. But I like this little push though. This is a really, really nice little push. Maybe he'll bunker up too. Looks like he wants to go for the pylon to supply block. Well, Mana was lucky. He got back in time for the Nexus cannon. If he had not, he'd probably be in some pretty big trouble. Looks like he's going to dance a little bit with the Marines, try to get some damage in. Strelok's just going to have to go home. Does have... Oh, Widow Mines. Me likey. Well, he's going to lose at least one stalker here. Blammo! I would envision if those existed in real life, Widow Mines, that they'd make a sound somewhat similar to Blammo. 2 forges on the way right now, and an observer. Lots of tech. This is a very interesting opening. Ooh. Oh, it loses that mine. Observer is in place. Pretty good position for Mana after defending that attack. He's got great tech out right now. He's got the double forge for his upgrades to go really fast. Looks like he's more gearing up for some sort of push in the next little bit on 2 bases. Or for a really super late game kind of attack. There's no observer in between the bases right now. So we'll see if this drop gets any damage in. Looks like Mana's already pretty prepared. He must know the timings down quite well as to when the drops are happening. Somewhere before the 10-minute mark and just be in a position to prepare for it. Vroom, vroom. Oh, hellions shoot at stuff. Where's the hellbats now? Did they get killed? No, it didn't. That sentry got a kill. That's funny. A couple of kills. 3, 4. He got one more before he died. These cannons are becoming extremely standard right now in the meta game of Protoss versus Terran. Very recommended for people if you know that your opponent likes drops or is Terran in general. Throwing down that one cannon is going to be really great. Couple of really important reasons. One, I mean, obviously it's going to help take out any types of drops, but also it really distracts fire. You'll notice if you drop a couple of hellbats and the cannon starts shooting, the hellbats are going to start going after the cannon unless the hellbats are microed. So it gives you a chance to pull your probes away and take less damage. This one hellbat's not going to have a good day. Not too sure what he's doing out on the map anyways. What the heck is this? What is Strelok doing? Am I missing something? Now Strelok's pretty seasoned. This is a little surprising out of him. That's kind of sloppy play. Now these hellbats are so slow, they're really not going to be able to do well against these stalkers. There is a tank up, and I'll keep him safe right now. Ooh. Yeah, that got killed off pretty easy. Let's look at the units tab here. Even on pretty much on workers, tech-wise though, I just think Mana's in a better position. His upgrades are going really well. The upgrades of the Terran are non-existent right now. He's just getting his first +1 on the way. Mana here has already finished 1-1. I'm surprised 2-2 hasn't... Oh, he forgot his Twilight Council. That's why. He needs that to get his 2-2 out. Looks like there's a bit of a mistake on his part. You get out those early forges so you can really keep that upgrade lead going. But if you let yourself get caught by not having your tech in place, sometimes you pay for it. Kind of like putting the low ground buildings. It just helps mess up any of the direction from opposing units. Keep sieged up. That's important. Is he gonna try and break this? Looks like he's keeping it alive right now, but that's a little bit too many units. He grabbed a tank, but not much else. 2-2 is now on the way. We only have +1 happening. He's going to be able to chrono boost out those upgrades as well. So we'll likely have those keeping Monsieur Mana at a pretty good lead. Third base for both players. The one for the Terran is up and mining faster, but it's not too big of a deal. I think Mana's still in a better position, but he really hasn't capitalized off of being in a better position. He has that warp. There's the warp prism. Like I say, he has the warp prism. Just doing some minor harassments can be really effective. Mech armies are historically very immobile. I think going for storm drops would be very worthwhile as well. And getting out speed for his warp prisms I think is going to be a must if he wants to do more harassment. A couple of cannons, not cannons, pylons out on the map now for Mana. The Terran, pretty sure Strelok knows he's behind, so he's just playing super defensive right now, just to make sure that he's not going to lose to anything really crappy that's going to catch him off guard. I really have... I guess that's just an important scan that sees everything. Did he see the archives though? Where are the archives? He didn't see the archives yet. But playing against Mech, Storm isn't as important. I mean, storming the hellbats does a lot of damage, obviously. Being themselves a somewhat light vehicle. This base doesn't seem to be that effective yet for Mana. It's just getting the gas and getting saturated. Strelok has a much better economy going on his side. So even though I think he didn't do really great with his early harassment, I think he's starting to pull ahead right now. Supply-wise, he's got a huge lead, which is really impressive when you have somebody that is going Mech. The correct units you want against Mech is Immortals and Archons. They tank a lot of shots, obviously, and cut through Mech units. But you've got to be able to crush through them and get to the tanks in the background. Otherwise, you can't really be that effective. Ghosts on the way, interesting part to mix in with it, just to get the EMPs out. They're not going to have any upgrades, obviously. +2 attack is on the way, but +3 is already started for our Protoss player. I am a little bit surprised in all this that we haven't seen just a few more attempted drops, even if they're not super successful, just to keep the Protoss on his toes. There isn't anything really here to deny it. There's these pylons for vision in between, obviously, which FXO should see. FXO Strelok. Almost maxed out. Maybe he just wants to go for that maxed out push. Case in point. 7 hellbats and 2 tanks at a time. Pretty good. I think it's pretty good. 2 more robos coming out as well. This army is way too small right now to deal with this. I don't think he's got any storms in the composition. Siege! Siege! Siege something. Ooh, big siege. Doesn't siege at all. Nice EMPs. He's going to trap that army away. Weirdly enough, I don't think the Protoss can attack into this. Looks like he wants to try to dice a little bit and bounce back. Oh man, that's ugly though. Even with the upgrade lead, that wasn't even close. Nana's down to 123 supply. I've been playing with this build a bit myself. The mass tank, hellbat, and even a little bit of Thor's mixed in. Looks like he's going to try to siege up just outside the base, split up a little bit. Yeah, control the space in between both of the bases here. Nice little attack from behind with the zealots there though. That was pretty effective. I like to mix in with the ghosts as well. This is such a cool army. Got to keep the hellbats in front of the tanks to be able to tank damage. More units streaming across the map. This is such a great position here out of Strelok. Nice EMP, hits just about everything in that army. Hellbat's still doing damage. Terran player is still keeping his supply pretty heavy throughout this, just rallying more units across the map. Looks like there's a little bit of a zealot run by there, but it didn't get too much damage done. Man, what a game! That was very, very interesting out of Mr. Strelok. And I want to think, like, what did the Protoss do wrong in that position? He didn't have those storms. There's a lot of clumped up units. The storms might have actually done some good damage. He attacked into that sieged up tank line, which didn't work. But I think the emphasis, if you see the Terran maxing out on Mech, like, there's very few armies more deadly than a maxed out Mech army. A maxed out Protoss army is really good, but Mana didn't have one of those. 3 base, Mech max, and he didn't even have all the upgrades in place. Crazy. I'm impressed, and I'm excited for game 2. Tune in, guys. We got the next one coming at you right away.